has a monopoly on what is a very hard problem, but I don't have much patience for anyone who denies that this challenge is real. We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. Sticking your head in the sand might make you feel safer, but it's not going to protect you from the coming storm.
Declaring a war on coal is tantamount to declaring a war on jobs. It's tantamount to kicking the ladder out from beneath the feet of many Americans struggling in today's economy.
Let's look at the facts. Global temperatures have been flat for 16 years. The IEA has declared the United States has reduced its CO2 emissions more than any other country on Earth since 2006. Our emissions now are at the 1992 levels, at a 20-year low. So at a time like this, and also with high unemployment, a very sluggish economy sort of hanging on the edge, the president wants to introduce a bill, legislation that everybody understands, well, it's going to be a regulation, that everybody understands is intended to kill coal. The regulations on the books already have made it impossible for an American to open a new plant. What this is going to do is to destroy the existing plants. And this is why it is nuts. China and India are opening a new coal plant every week. So this is going to have, even if you believe in global warming, this is going to have zero effect on the climate. You shut down the coal industry here, it's exploding in the rest of the world. So all that we're going to be doing is dismantling our industry and essentially, in effect, shipping it overseas. And there's one last item. The president has said, well, in that case, of course, he's going to persuade, going to get involved, get other countries who will join us. China has made it absolutely clear, India as well. The West has had a century-and-a-half advance in industrialization. It's starting late. It is not going to arrest its development, which has been lifting the Chinese and the Indians out of poverty in order to please us. Here's a president who can't get Snowden out of, who can't get China to turn over one Edward Snowden. He's going to get China to arrest its industrial development as a way to please him. Zero chance.
But I do want to be clear. Allowing the Keystone Pipeline to be built requires a finding that doing so would be in our nation's interest. And our national interest will be served only if this project does not significantly exacerbate the problem of carbon pollution.
Charles, we didn't get a lot of clarity there.
He's implying that he's going to turn it down because the Canadian oil is heavy oil. And it won't have any difference because if we don't accept it, if the pipeline is not built, it's going to go west. It's going to end up in China.
I think he's saying the State Department has already done an analysis that said this isn't going to have a significant impact on carbon emissions because it's going to, the tar sands oil is going to be mined anyway in Canada, and Canada's going to get it to market somehow. And at least if you read the State Department report, they don't seem to think it's going to have a significant effect.
It's the argument I just made, that it won't have any effect, and that would be a rational argument. It would be unusual if Obama adopted it, and I'd welcome it.
You're looking live at the U.S. Supreme Court. Today, a lot of action there in a 5-4 decision saying that under the 1965 Voting Rights Act law that designed to prevent essentially discrimination against minority voters, all or part of 15 states had to get permission from the federal government as a part of that law before making changes to their election procedures. Here's what John Roberts wrote in the opinion. His opinion: there's no denying, however, that the conditions that originally justified these measures no longer characterize voting in the covered jurisdictions. You had many African-American lawmakers and activists saying this was a dagger in the heart of the Voting Rights Act. Other analysts said, you know, you look at the demographics politically of who's getting elected in the Deep South, and that has changed dramatically since
It's a
then.
dagger in the heart of a bill that has succeeded, whose time has come and gone. The conditions, as the Chief Justice wrote, are radically different. In 5 of the 6 states, the original southern states, to whom all of this was applied, the rates of voting among blacks is higher than it is among whites. This is a classic case of reactionary liberalism, hanging on to all the successes of the mid-last century without recognizing that conditions are radically different and some things have to change. This one has succeeded.
has been a Sunfish production.